all enjoy the kickoff? We talked a lot about growth and intentions, and our intention is to have this reconnecting session as an opportunity to see each other again and to continue the relationship building as well as give back. In this session, we're going to focus on the giving portion of the program. We'll be featuring an activity with Girls on the Run Piedmont. We'll have a panel discussion from local nonprofits Girls on the Run Piedmont, SAFE, and Mom to Mom. And then we're going to actively participate in hands-on give back projects that will benefit these amazing local nonprofits. So before we begin, just like last time, I would like to take a moment to thank each of our committee members for their time, energy, and hard work on helping us get this all put together. So I'm going to read out the names of our committee members, and if you would please stand and remain standing when you hear your names. Gretchen Franti, Isabel Baker, Jennifer Marjoram, Carrie Reardon, Christy Romeo, Mary Seek, Michelle Felux, Samantha Barber, Sarah Langland, and Selena Woodson. Let's all give them all a hand. We would also like to recognize and thank our sponsors who graciously support this event. So once again, I will read the names out loud, and I'll ask that you please stand and remain standing when your organization is called. Our signature sponsor, Freedom Street Partners. Woo! Lyft sponsors, Truist, and Fauquier Health. Empower sponsors, Able Heating and Air, Culpeper Star Exponent, and Clore English Funeral Home. And our Encourage sponsors, 103.1 WJMA, Rappahannock Electric Cooperative, Realtor Deb Benzari, and Thrivent. Thank you all again so much for your commitment to the Chamber and to this special event. So at our last session, we had the pleasure of hearing from our signature sponsor's client relationship manager, Virginia Ginny Kunstelader. She started off our program by talking about the importance and the benefit of giving, how it impacts our physical and mental health, improves it, and fosters a sense of community. Today, we have the pleasure of introducing the Chief Executive Officer of Freedom Street Partners. Scott is not only a successful financial advisor who was named to the 2021 edition of the Forbes list of Best in-State Wealth Advisors. He's also a philanthropist and is very proud of his charitable efforts. He is an active member of the Chesapeake Rotary Club, is the chair and founder of the Chesapeake Wine Festival, which he established in 2009, and is known as one of the most popular charitable activities in the region. He dedicates countless hours of his time to the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Hampton Roads, where he is a member of the corporate board, as well as many other charities. So without further ado, Mr. Scott Danner.
So it's always uncomfortable when they read the bio. You know, I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but you're like, oh, you don't have to say all that stuff. I'll say nothing, and if they like me, they like me. If they don't, they don't. But ultimately, Ginny set us up perfectly because she talked about creating a rich life. And today, you're going to be talking about giving back, about leaving a legacy. And I think a lot of this is very important to who we are as a company. And so just briefly, Freedom Street Partners is a financial advisory company. But when you've been doing this for 20 plus years, you do a lot more than just lead people and help people with their finances. If you're not helping them with their life, with their biggest challenges, with the solutions to solve some of the things that families struggle with, you're not doing anything to help them in their life beyond the money. And the money is just a transaction. So we've been building relationships and building a company and a culture for a long time. But we believe in investing in the community, and the community will build your business. So there's a couple of things I think we can talk about. I've put a copy of my book on everybody's table, and we're going to have a little giveaway at the end, so we'll make it fun and interactive. But I wrote a book this past year that came out in September called Freedom Street: How I Learned to Create a Rich Life, Live My Legacy, and Own the Future. So I'm gonna mention creating a rich life because it's really important. Where did we get these terms? Create a rich life, live a legacy, own the future. They sound really fun, but here's where they came from. Business owners, people in business, people that love their jobs, probably, how many people in here love what they do? Raise your hand. All right. Usually when you do a chamber event, you're around people that love what they do. And sometimes we love what we do so much, it becomes our impact. And if our impact is only tied to what we do, that can be as great of something as it can also be a little bit dangerous at times. Because when we are no longer doing that job, or we no longer own that company, we have an emptiness, something we have to fulfill. And when you've been a financial advisor and helping people for 20 plus years, what you realize is people come in all the time. They're like, hey, Reed, I want to retire. And you're like, okay, great. What are you going to do? And the first thing you ask that question, and they look at you and they're like, I have no idea. And you're like, whoa, hold on. You've been working 9-hour days as long as I've known you. You're financially stable. You have a great life ahead of you. What are you going to do? And they're like, I don't know. And so you start walking through the things that are important, right? Creating a rich life came from understanding that people that are retiring, stepping away from business, stopping what they've been doing at any point in time in their life, if they haven't created a rich life, defined what freedom means to them, it was challenging for them. So, when you think about a rich life, I don't mean money. I don't mean money is great, and guess what? It does help, okay? It doesn't make you happy, but it definitely can make the bills feel a little bit better. It can certainly create a little more freedom, maybe a little more travel. There's a lot of things that it can do, but it's empty if you're alone. It's empty if you don't have the people you love with you. It's empty if you're not doing the things that you always dreamed of doing. And if you don't define that for yourself, it's very difficult to actually make it count. So, living a legacy, that's really what today's topic is. And this is really important to me because I think living a legacy is better than leaving a legacy. I can't tell you how many boards I've been on. I'm 43 years old, okay? I turned 44 in a month and a half. Here's the key. I've been doing these charity things since I was brand new. And when I joined the Chesapeake Rotary Club, it was 110 of the most powerful people in Hampton Roads, a very, very great group of people, and they were doing the spaghetti dinner. And the spaghetti dinner was netting about $3,000. And I was like, what are we doing? And I said, we should do a wine festival. And everybody laughed about it. And they were like, no, we're going to do a barbecue. And I was like, yeah, no one's ever been to a barbecue that a Rotary Club runs. Nothing wrong with the Rotary barbecues. They're great. But they're literally the same things over and over again. And so it required a lot of work, a lot of massaging of the idea, of selling the idea, of telling people that we could do something bigger than ourselves, right? But it goes back to leaving a legacy means you wait. It means you keep waiting all the time. Leaving a legacy is that when you're gone, somebody remembers you for something. How many people, when I say leave a legacy, think of someone that they remember in their lives? Right? We all do that. We all actually hope to be that for somebody. I think that's something that when I think of leaving a legacy, I think that I want my kids, I want our children. I do a YouTube channel and I do videos every single week. The biggest impact I hope I make is my children, when I'm gone, they can watch some of the things I cared about when it came to kindness, when it came to giving back, when it came to doing things that were bigger than yourself. There's lessons for them that, guess what, they probably won't listen to till I'm gone. But if they listen at all, it's going to be valuable. But living a legacy is a little bit different. So here's the point I want to make. Last key point, and a lot of these things are in the book, so feel free to take a look at it. But living a legacy is about creating a habit of daily impact. Instead of actually leaving a legacy, if you focus every day on living it, it means that every day you're doing something small. So there's a lot of examples, and I don't tell these examples to tell you I'm a good guy, okay? There's plenty of things I've done in my life that I would love to change or make better or redo, just like every single person in the world. But there are some things that you have a chance to make an impact and you feel a calling in that moment and you ignore it a lot. And that little tiny impact can become something that builds on someone else's life. You're going to do it today. You're going to do things for SAFE and Girls on the Run and some of these other organizations. But just being a part of them isn't enough. It's the stuff behind the scenes, like we talked about, that nobody else knows is getting done that makes that impact. And it happens every day. And so living a legacy versus leaving a legacy is focusing a little bit on everyday small things. You know, a little smile for somebody, carrying a box up the steps for someone, opening a door. You know, sometimes you're at the grocery store, and I don't know if you've ever done this. I do it all the time. It's a little less, maybe it's a little less received today than the generation before, but I will often say if someone has pretty nails or their hair looks good or they've done something that's unique, you know, you say something. Wow, you look really great today. Your nails are awesome. Something simple, right? And the person will look at you and say, wow, you don't know how much I needed that today. How often does that happen? That is a small thing, but that's living a legacy. Something simple. You might be the lady in the grocery store that always says something nice, but that might be the only person that person ever gets to remember. So the truth is, we can make a big impact on people's lives, one small step of kindness at a time. And I think that's really what Freedom Street, the book, the message, the company, our culture is all about. That's what Ginny and Bill and our team right here in this community symbolize for us. And we couldn't be more proud of our relationship with you as a chamber, with the community here, and we want to go into every place we go and do this. You know, we're currently remodeling a house from 1937 to make our office. It's quite a challenge. It's been great. Ginny's been amazing. But when you take an old house and you start remodeling it, you're making a impact to make it better in the community. We're trying to show that we don't just talk about it, we believe it. So the other thing we did is I made these bookmarks, and one of the things that's probably the most humbling when you release a book is even if it's published and you have all the great things that go with that, a marketing team, you are the person responsible for making sure people know about it and see it. So if you've liked anything I've said today, and you know Ginny or anyone on our team, or you can just say you met me and you wanna follow us. We have a couple ways on these tickets. Just you can purchase a book on Amazon. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. What I talked about today is what I talk about every single week. Our goal is to release a little bit more positivity in the world. It's not about finances. 90% of what we put out there has nothing to do with your money, because everything that money has to do with is useless if it doesn't have a humanness and a life aspect to it. Money is very empty without those things. So the other thing we're going to do today to finish up, and I'm sure I went over my time. I've never used the time they give me, so I apologize to our team here. But we will have copies to sell of the book, and I've purchased the book we purchased, I think, like 50, 60 copies that we've got today. And we're gonna just sell it for $20, and every penny we raise will be donating to SAFE. So 100% of the proceeds. So if you buy a book, you could do it one of two ways. Ginny will have my Venmo, so you just Venmo directly, and then you can also give her cash of $20, and then we'll make sure that we donate the total proceeds, and we'll tag the chamber so you know we actually did what we said we were going to do as well. Because making a habit of, I will make sure that I sign as many as I can before I leave today, and I'll leave them with Ginny. And it is cool, and I will tell you this, the book has a lot about my personal journey. And so it's a lot of things that have to do with creating a rich life for me, living a legacy for me, and owning the future. There are some things that are financial advisor specific because that's the job I've had for 20 years. So if you get bored with that stuff, skip the section and move to another one. It's fine. I'm not offended. The average person, less than 10% of people actually read a book over 200 pages. And if a book is under 66 pages, you have almost 100% read rate. So I wrote my book too long, I'm sorry. It's my fault, not yours. Yeah, next one. Thank you so much for allowing me to talk. Thank you to the chamber, and I will pass it off to Jeff or Amy or whoever it is. Okay.
So, living a legacy, as he was talking and telling how these tiny little things make an impact, I wrote down like a piece of sand. It got me thinking, like, sand is so tiny and so granular, just like a compliment to a stranger. But when we look at the beach, we don't see one tiny granular. We see a massive beach and a ton of sand. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. All right. I'd like to introduce a friend, colleague, amazing volunteer in our community. Well, she was a volunteer, now she's actually staff, so yay. The executive director of Girls on the Run Piedmont, Kathy Butler. Girls on the Run is a nonprofit organization dedicated to creating a world every girl knows, a world where every girl knows and activates her limitless potential and is free to boldly pursue her dreams. She is here to introduce an activity to us that is completely in line with what Lift is all about. Here you go, Kathy. Thank you.
So I wanted to thank you guys for supporting us. We've been around for 9 years now, and it's amazing. I know quite a few of you in this room, and you guys have been amazing help to our girls in the community. As you know, we focus on Girls on the Run, and when I talk to so many of you, guys are like, I wish that program was around when I was 9 years old. So when Sarah and Amy were talking about doing this Lift event and its theme, I was like, I want to give back. You guys want to give to me, but I really want to give back to you guys. So I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to experience Girls on the Run. So everybody get together. Let's go run some laps. No, I'm kidding. We're ready. All right. So no, we're not going to run. The topics we're going to cover today is based on our Girls on the Run program and our Heart and Soul program, but I've adapted it for adults. The big difference is going to be the lack of physical activity. I'm not going to make you guys run today. We don't have the time for it. You guys can come out and run with me another day. I've already mapped on your calendars. When you get back to the office, you'll see we're set up for a run. But my hope is that you guys will walk away with this with a deeper understanding of what we're trying to do for our girls, and maybe more of you will consider coaching, because our coaches get just as much out of the program as the girls, maybe even more. Is that too loud? No. Okay, am I fading? All right, well today we'll be covering like 3 overarching themes. So what I've tried to do is take 10 weeks of programming, squish it into an hour, and now I'm squishing it into 20 minutes. So bear with me. So we're going to talk about our star power, which is all about recognizing and celebrating the qualities that make us unique. We're going to talk about self-talk and how you can practice. Can I just switch? The wind is blowing that one. Is that better? There we go. I got it. I'm a geek, sort of. So we're going to also talk about self-talk and how you can develop that practice of positive self-talk. And then we're going to talk about balance. And I'm probably the worst person to talk about that, but we'll work on it. We'll all work on it together. So first is star power. One of the most treasured lessons that the coaches talk about giving our girls is called star power. And the star power lesson inspires girls to practice using visualization, kind of like what Izzy was doing in our last session. And that's going to impact their thoughts, their feelings, and their behaviors. The lesson also teaches some strategies to activate and enhance their star power and help their friends activate their star power. So they're going to learn that community. So if you're comfortable, I'd love for you guys to join me in the visualization exactly like we present it to the girls. So get comfortable, close your eyes, and take a long, slow, deep breath. As you breathe out, relax your body, starting with your toes, move up to your shoulders, and end all the way at the top of your head. Imagine that it is night, and the sky is dark, and from your window, you look up at the sky, and you see it filled with thousands of twinkling, beautiful stars. Focus on just one of those stars and make it your star. Watch how your star shines brighter in the sky as you think about it. Your star is one of millions, and while all the stars have similar qualities, there is no other star in the sky that is exactly like your star. Your star is beautiful and unique. You are just like that star. Although you're one of millions of people out there, there is no one just like you. There is no one that laughs like you, no one who dances like you, no one who thinks about the world in the exact same way that you do. Now reach up as high as you can and pull your star out of the sky. Hug it so tight that it becomes part of you and that you can feel it shining in your heart. Your star is connected to every organ and cell in your body, and it gives you a special superpower, star power. When your star power is activated, others can see it through the twinkle in your eye, through the love in your heart, through the gifts that you spread. You activate your star power when you help a friend, when you sing at the top of your lungs. And your star power is strongest when you are doing things that make you happy. Now imagine a cloudy night when you can't see the stars. Just like some nights there are clouds in the sky and you can't see the stars, you may have some cloudy times when it's hard to activate your star power. These clouds can make you say negative things to yourself like, I can't do it, or I'm not good enough. The more negative things you say or hear, the thicker and larger and darker those clouds become. And you have a harder time remembering your star power. When this happens, remember that your star power still shines inside of you, right next to your heart. When you lose sight of your star power, there are different ways to activate it again. You might take a deep breath in or out. You might do something that you enjoy, like read a book, listen to some music, or go for a run. Sometimes you may not know how to activate your star power, and you might need some help from somebody else to help you activate it. They might give you a hug, tell you a joke, or simply listen to you. Take a moment to feel your star power and see it shining. Remember that your star power is always inside of you, letting you know just how amazing you are. When you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. So that is word for word how we walk the girls through a star power exercise. So how did that exercise make you feel?
All warm and fuzzy.
All warm and fuzzy. Awesome. So what did you learn about your star power? Is that something you've thought about before? Heard about it in a different tone? How does it feel when your star power is activated? Is your star power activated right now? Why do you think that's important for our girls? Any ideas? Self-worth. Yes, I love it. So that was one of the overarching themes of Girls on the Run as we talk about our girls' star power. I'm trying to break it down to the three main topics. So the second one is self-talk. So in self-talk, and it's a lesson in our curriculum that follows our star power, so they build on one another. Being mindful of when we're practicing negative self-talk is important as a good way to develop the star power. So when they're saying negative things, they're clouding up their star, and that's how we approach it to them. So, looking back at the last week, did you do any negative self-talk? How many times? None? 1, 2, 20, 50? More times than I want to admit? That's me. So on your table, you have a blank sheet of paper. I want you to pick 2 statements that you said to yourself last week that was negative. You don't have to show it to anybody. You don't have to tell me. You're not going to tell me. I'm sure that didn't take long, did it? So we're going to put that aside. We're not going to think about the negative right now. So what? We're going to get back to it. Trust me, we're going to get back to that. So now on your table is also a worksheet. And on one side it says positive self-talk statements. So on the back side, you'll see at the top, I am most happy when. So when are you most happy? And then the next one is I like myself because. And then something I do well is my colleagues count on me for. My friends would tell you I have a natural talent for. I like the way I feel about myself when. The one person who always makes me feel good about myself, the one positive trait that I have. My colleagues respect me because. So your homework assignment's going to be take this home, put it on your refrigerator, take a picture of it, put it as your phone background, whatever it means for you to see it over and over again. No, we're not going to look at how positive we are. That's good. My refrigerator's not magnetic. I'm very disappointed by this fact. Makes my life hard. But someplace where you'll remember it and remind yourself what you're good at. So now let's go back to that negative sheet and take a peek at it. Let's go ahead and turn those negatives into some positives. For example, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go all out and I'm gonna tell you one of mine. I am thinking, wow, I talk so super fast that they're not hearing anything that I am saying. So let's reframe that, shall we? I am so excited and passionate about Girls on the Run that I want to make sure I say as much as humanly possible in a short amount of time. So try to reframe your negative for your own bit. I mean, we're teaching these girls to take these negative comments that they are saying in their head and turn them into something positive. One little girl said, I've got big thighs. And she turned that around and said, you know what? My thighs are super strong and they're getting me to the finish line. I saw a meme online where a little girl couldn't fit into her pants and she said, my legs are so powerful I can't fit in my pants. Like, you go, girl. So if we can take some of those negative words and model that for our girls. I mean, that's all we ask for the coaches is model it. We're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. And just model that. That's part of what we do. The final topic is balance. And we teach them it's a challenge for all of us to find a balance in our lives. As women, we're juggling household, career, kids, our health, everything else. We're worried about fitting into our pants. We're worried about putting dinner on the table. We're worried about holding down a job. Worried about giving back to the community, showing up for these networking events. It's a lot. So we're going to just do a little bit of movement. Kristen's going to jog for us. So I want you to slouch in your chair each time you identify with something here that I'm saying. Slouch. I love to slouch, right? We got to let all the energy out. So you get to the end of the day and realize you have not had enough water. You have gotten too much screen time on the computer, on your phone. How about you use negative self-talk after you had a difficult conversation? How about you joined in a discussion talking about somebody else that you care about negatively? How many of you stayed up till 1 a.m. squeezing in one more episode of your favorite TV show? Oh, we got a lot of takers there.
Does it have to be last night, Kathy, or just in general?
Anytime. You had a challenging day, and instead of reaching out to someone else to process your feelings, you kept them bottled up. That's me. You skipped lunch and had that third cup of coffee.
I wish I could skip lunch, but I didn't drink coffee. Just keep going.
So the question is, how can you balance an unhealthy behavior with a healthy behavior? So we teach the girls that you've got to counter the behavior to bring in more balance. For example, one of the things we use for girls, instead of saying stop eating candy and sweets, we have them reframe it to say eat more fruits and vegetables. Because we don't like to take things away from ourselves, but we can add stuff in it. You know, add more fruits and vegetables. Ultimately, you're going to eat less candy because you're not going to be hungry, right? So the other side of your worksheet that you have on your table is balancing your star. So when we talk to girls about their star, there's different parts of their star that represents the whole girl. Their physical health, and this part of the star relates to their body, eating well, exercising, sleeping well. Their brain, the part of the star that relates to the brain, such as learning something, being creative, doing the crafts. Activities, hanging out with friends, doing these networking events, baking. Our emotions, the feelings that we have, are we releasing them healthily? Are we keeping them bottled up? So thinking back into the past week, can you think of the activities that you did for any part of your star? You can kind of jot them down, and you can kind of get a visualization of if you were being balanced. So does anybody in here think their star was balanced last week? Do you feel like you had a pretty good balance? Some people are saying yes. I got a few faces that are like, are you kidding me? Mine was not balanced last week. Which part do you think is the most balanced? Do you have a better time, balance in the brain? You spend a lot of creative time? Do we have a lot of runners in here? You feel like your body is really exercised and you keep that well into balance? You've got a few of those. Emotions. People, anybody in here really good at processing their emotions? I'm looking for a good therapist. There you go. All right. It's a good thing you're sitting next to me. We'll talk. So the other homework assignment, since I had to shorten this out, is to think about how to balance your star personally and how you can take that into your life and kind of bring more balance and more peace to your life. Because really that's all about. If you're not in balance, you're not going to be able to give back to others. You're not going to be able to spread the word and spread kindness. You're not modeling it for our daughters. Even if you don't have kids, you're modeling it for the little girls out there. They're seeing you in the grocery store. They're seeing you in the park. They're seeing you everywhere, and they're watching. So, as women, we need to work for these. Anybody who's interested in coaching, coaches get so much out of these lessons. I've got a great story, but we don't have time for that today. But if you want to come talk to me afterwards, I've got a great coaching story. And if you don't want to coach after that, I can't help you. But I appreciate your time. And if you have any questions, I guess I'm on this panel, so I guess that's when you ask questions. So.
Okay, so the next piece of our program, before we break into networking and give back projects, we're going to have a panel discussion with our 3 nonprofits. So I'd like to welcome Miss Cindy Hedges, Miss Kirsten Knippel, and Miss Kathy Butler back up. All right, so we're going to start with, what is your name? What is your organization? And what does your organization do for our community?
So I'm Kathy Butler. I'm the Executive Director for Girls on the Run Piedmont. We serve girls in 3rd through 8th grade in Culpeper, Fauquier, Madison, Rappahannock, Stafford, Spotsylvania, and Fredericksburg City. We teach boundary setting and healthy self-esteem. We do that through physical activity. So some of the activities you guys did with me earlier, we'd integrate running. At the end of the season, we do a 5K with the girls, and it's a celebration of what they achieve. So they don't have to run, they can walk. We have no clocks at my finish line typically. Tabitha has them at the wicket bottom, but we don't get timed. The girls also do a community service project. So like you guys are doing today on giving back, the girls learn to give back, and they learn at 9 years old that they can change the world.
Oh, wow. Love it. Yay.
Hi, I'm Kirsten Knippel. I'm the Executive Director of Mom to Mom, and we help moms and families get diapers, wipes, formula, and personal hygiene items at no cost. We also connect them to area resources and help them apply for those resources if needed. We service Culpeper, Orange, Madison Green, Louisa, Fluvanna, Charlottesville, Albemarle counties. I also have serviced clients in Fauquier County, Fredericksburg, and as far as Harrisonburg. We
Sorry, I'm really bad at this.
No. I mean, that's a lot. What you're providing for them is a lot, and you connect them with the other resources within the communities.
And we work very closely with SAFE and Girls on the Run.
I am Cindy Hedges. I'm the Executive Director for Services to Abused Families, also known as SAFE. We provide shelter, support, and advocacy to victims and survivors of domestic violence and sexual violence in Fauquier, Rappahannock, Culpeper, Madison, and Orange. So I specifically state victim and survivor in my conversation because I've been asked the question numerous times, do we serve victims or do they have to be out of the situation? They do not have to be out of the situation. We will help safety plan and help them get out of whatever situation they're in. It does not have to be law enforcement referral. It can be self-referral. We have 2 shelters, and at one of our locations we have now a pet shelter, so we're able to receive the family pets as well. Yeah, that's a big thing. So that's a broad statement for what we do. We do quite a bit in the communities, but that may come out in further discussion.
Thank you guys so much. How long has your organization been operating, and how did it get started?
Wow. So we have been around since 1980. We were, for the first 4 years, all voluntary. There were several members of the community that still are around in the community that participated in making our organization happen. But I've heard recently, like 3 years ago, from 2 of the founding persons to our agency that it started from someone who worked in DSS that had a neighbor that was in a domestic violence situation. She and her husband received this young lady and the children. They hid her car in their garage because, of course, it was a neighbor, and were appalled by the fact that there was no place for this family to go. So that was Gwen and Earl Berner. Susan Vignola was, I think, working for the RCSB at the time, and so she partnered, and there were many other people, so please know that it didn't happen just with the 3. But they definitely were part of the movement. So originally it was a farmhouse that we had rent-free for 6 months. In 1984, with the Help of United Way, we were able to start paying staff. And in 1986, we changed from it just being a women's abuse shelter to receiving anyone of domestic violence. In 2007, we added sexual assault to the organization. That now includes human trafficking as well as stalking. So it's a really broad scope.
Mom, I was just telling Kathy Godfrey this. We started as a Facebook page in the height of COVID-19. I have always been really resourceful. People have always asked me where they can go to apply for food stamps, or where do they go to get WIC, or, you know, Kirsten, my kid needs new shoes, who can help me? So, excuse me. So I started a Facebook page. I was lucky enough during the COVID shutdown that I was furloughed from my job, but a lot of my friends weren't. So the Facebook page kind of it literally blew up overnight. Cindy witnessed the whole thing. We did, I was doing the resources and everything else, and then a friend of mine who was running the Greene County Facebook page for assistance was doing a diaper drive. And I was like, well, I have time. I can do that. And then I was like, oh, well, let's add formula, and let's add pads and tampons and shampoo and anything that anybody could ever need. And it literally blew up overnight. And now we are a fully funded nonprofit. Well, not fully funded, but we are a full-blown nonprofit. So.
Is fully funded ever a,
No.
and
I was going to say fully accepting.
fully accepting? Yes.
Yes.
Well, my story is in two parts. First, Girls on the Run International is an international organization. So we have councils all across the U.S., and we had one in Canada. So hence international. So it started in 1996 with a lady named Molly Barker. She was an alcoholic. She found alcohol at 12 years old. And she had a rough go of it. And she tells a story that she was at the end. She called her sister up and said, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to do this. And her sister's like, just give me one night. Go to sleep tonight, wake up tomorrow, and let's talk. And she's like, you know what? I can't sleep. So she got off the phone with her sister. She promised she wouldn't do anything that night. And she went out for a run. And as she was running along, she saw a storm in the distance. And she's like, well, I'll be done before the storm's running. So she kept running towards the storm, and the storm kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And she said she kind of thought about her life, and she realized that she was shoved in this box that people told her of what she should do and how she should be and what kind of woman she was supposed to do and how she was supposed to act. And she called it the girl box. And she had a social worker background because, you know, typically we go in this line of work because we need help ourselves, right? And she realized that this box is what she was trapped in, and she referred to it as a girl box where, you know, she was forced to be everybody else's expectations. So it kind of saved her, just that realization of bursting out of the box. So she put together a curriculum and took 13 girls and tested it out, and people started hearing about it, and they wanted to do it, and it just spread. The first 13 girls, the first girl was Adelaide Belk. So you see the little running girl logo on a lot of my stuff. Her name is Adelaide. Fun fact, I use it as trivia for prizes sometimes, so keep that in your pocket for later. So she started with 13 girls in North Carolina. Now our story, we started in 2013. A bunch of women had heard about the program, and they built it in their living room. I had moved from Northern Virginia down here, and I was involved with Girls on the Run in Northern Virginia as a coach because I wanted to play with girls. I had a little boy at the time. I moved down here, I was pregnant, and my sister-in-law, who works at Parks and Rec's, like, did you realize they're doing a council? I saw it in the paper. So I reached out to the lady who founded it, Sissy, and said, you know, hey, I want to help. And she's like, well, I want to bring Culpeper online. I was like, I can do that. That's my hometown. I came back. So during that time when I was starting to work with her and, you know, get my bearings, she became pregnant with her son. And she's like, you know what? I don't have time to have my government job, my 2 kids. And then she's like, here, see ya. So there I am. So we started with 43 girls in Fauquier County. We had, just pre-COVID, the fall of 2019, 289 girls. It looks like we're going to have 300 to 400 this fall. I'm very excited. But yeah, that's me.
That's awesome. So the last question we have, and if anyone has any questions after they answer this one, please raise your hand and we'd be happy to take questions. But our last question is, what are ways that the community can support you?
Money. No. Figured I'd answer for everybody. Nonprofits are 100% community funded. I'm not sure SAFE is much bigger than we are, but we don't receive any government money. Everything comes out of the people in the community. That's how we pay staff. That's how we buy materials. That's how the girls get their shoes. I mean, I provide shoes and sports bras and everything else. So, I mean, donate to these causes. Give Local Piedmont is in next week. It's a great way to give to a whole bunch of nonprofits. There are so many wonderful nonprofits in this community. You know, even if you gave $10 to a whole bunch of your favorites, you know, there's extra prize money out there. They all need board members. We all do. If you have a skill or you want to learn a skill, that's a great way to get involved with a nonprofit. Say if you've got a passion and I want to learn how to do social media. I'm not very good, but I really want to learn it. We don't have the money to pay an expert, so come and learn with us. I wasn't an executive director. I was a geek. Honestly, I was an internet engineer. This is not my line of work. So come and learn. We could always use the help.
Kathy kind of took my answer. Just basically what Kathy said. We're always looking for volunteers. We do diaper giveaways. Twice a month, we give away diapers, wipes, hygiene items and formula. We do one in Orange and one in Culpeper. We're always looking for businesses that would want to partner with us. If your business is interested in doing a diaper drive or a hygiene drive, we're more than happy to, look for partners and give local Piedmonts next week.
And I'm going to add that you also need people to help you at those giveaways, right? Yeah. So I just know that because as a startup, right, I'm just going to go here, getting board members and really having board members that are invested in what you're doing is huge. And so it can take some time. And when there's turnover in boards and different things, it definitely impacts the agency for the fundraising, for all of those things that happen. And so your executive director or your volunteer person is out there on their own sometimes. So those volunteers always come in handy.
I do want to say that I am not paid. I don't get paid to do this.
Yeah.
I work full time at the Culpeper Star Exponent.
Yeah. So she's all volunteer right now. Yeah. And then I'll add to that, obviously, money, Give Local Piedmont. Definitely lots of organizations and businesses in our communities support us in a huge way. So we've got Give Local Piedmont coming up. High Heeled Happy Hour is next Wednesday at Old House, is that right? Old House. So you still have tickets available, and the proceeds for that event on next Wednesday will go to SAFE, so I have to plug that, right? But some other things that the community can do for us besides money is think about the ladies and the children that come into shelter with us, and think about leaving everything and holidays coming up and various things happening, and a mom or dad that wants to make sure that their children have everything that they would have had within their household, but without the fighting, right? So oftentimes those holidays that come up, Valentine's Day, Christmas, we get families adopted, we do those things. They're cooking meals just like anybody else is cooking meals in the household. So cleaning supplies, in-kind donations, those things are important to our ladies and to our children and to men. Also think about what you would want, right? So would you want words of encouragement, to Kathy's point, right? Words of encouragement from other people? Because one of the things we tell people when they come into our organization is that they're loved by a community, and that the community doesn't want them to live in violence at all. And so if we can get words of encouragement from community, so if you just want to come and volunteer, we do require 40 hours of training in order to be in contact with our clients. That 40 hours is the same 40 hours that the staff would have. So you could answer hotline calls, you can do whatever you want to do. But if you don't want to do that, then you can send a card with just a word of encouragement to anyone that's in shelter. And you don't have to know their age, and you don't have to know who they are, but they will then know that they are loved like we tell them they are. Yep. Wow. Yeah.
As a former client, that's something that is very appreciated.
Thank you guys so much for the feedback. Does anybody have any questions for the panel?
Where do the girls come from? How do you recruit and or grow, or where do they find out about your program? And are they girls that are at risk, or it's any girl, or?
That's a great question.
That's a great question. So we partner with the schools a lot of times. We advertise, of course, the local paper and social media to get girls, but we also partner with the guidance counselors and stuff. So right now we're under some grant funding in Culpeper with COVID. So we're able to have these girls participate at no cost to them. So a lot of times the guidance counselors are identifying special girls. Now we never ever turn a wet girl away. We charge $150 typically as our registration fee. but it's on a sliding scale. And if they can't afford it, they just call me up. I mean, I've told my board for years, if they can't afford it, I'll stand in front of Target if I have to with a tin cup, but I don't turn girls away. We give them shoes if that's a barrier. I've donated shoes to some of the girls in the safe shelters if they needed shoes. I don't let money be a barrier, but I try to reach the girls at risk. I'm not looking for the track star girls. I'm looking for that girl who doesn't have, a community inside her school, and build that team.
I have a question for SAFE. The women that are in SAFE, do they work?
That's their choice. So oftentimes they will come to us without jobs. So we are going to help them identify what skills they have, because most of the time they'll say they don't have skills to be able to work, but they're managing kids and life and family. So we try to translate those day-to-day things into work skills for them, and we help them with their journey. So they've come from control. They've come from a lot of different things. So the last thing we want to do is tell them what to do. So we try to help them explore what it is they would like to do with their future. We do that through support group, through one-on-one counseling, and those sorts of things. So I'll just expand on that. We don't have a lot of rules in the shelter. Like, you can't drink and do drugs in the shelter, but we don't have curfews. They can come and go. So if they do get jobs that are 3 to 11 or whatever, they don't have to worry about getting back in time before, they'll get kicked out and those sorts of things.
Well, my question is, it wasn't like, they should be working. I think my question in asking that is because, I look at myself and, I thank God that I have, but I was thinking more along the lines, if you have nice clothing that's new or like that's clean, and shoes, because like for me, I've had so many foot surgeries and I have all these cute shoes and I can't wear them. I may have worn them once.
Yep.
And I want to be able to give that stuff instead of trying to consign it.
Thank you for that. We do take in-kind donations for those things. I will be very honest and tell you that we have a very small clothes closet at one of the locations, so that when families come in, because they come with nothing, oftentimes flip-flops in the wintertime, we take them downstairs so they can choose whatever they want. If we're not able to receive or accept your donation, we encourage that you partner with us to go to Full Circle Thrift, because Full Circle does give vouchers to our families to be able to get clothes. So their title, Full Circle, is exactly that in our community. So if you say you're dropping it off in the name of SAFE, then they're going to know that we've sent you there. But first, by all means, give us a call, and we'll let you know what sizes we're looking for or if we can receive it.
Phone number?
For us, 825-8891. Thank you for that question.
Thank you.
I think when a lot of us think about SAFE, we think about women. And you have mentioned men a couple of times. Can you elaborate on that in a sense?
Yeah, obviously the numbers are not as high, but there is a percentage of men that experience domestic violence just as well. So we house men and children, their children in a lot of cases. So to be very honest and fair, when we bring women and children into shelter is a house, it's communal living, so they have their own sleeping quarters, but they use the same kitchen, they use the same dining room and living space. So if it's appropriate, men and children will go into that same house. We are very strategic about how we do that. We make sure that's appropriate for everyone involved. If that's not the case, we do have also a apartment unit that we can put them in there. What we will not do, if someone calls and they're in a situation of domestic violence, we will not turn them away. So we will find something somewhere for them to go safe, because everyone deserves to live safely. Yep.
Does anybody else have a question? Yes, Michelle.
This is actually a question for all of you. What would be one thing that you wish the general public knew about each of your organizations?
For me, so funny you mentioned that. Jenny and I were talking about that earlier. Jenny was on our board once upon a time, and I always try to recruit her back. Right? So for us, what we like people to know is that when people come into shelter, it's not over. It's actually the beginning. So they're just starting to do life. And there's a lot that goes on there. So oftentimes people think they've called the hotline, they've gotten out of the dangerous situation, yay, hands, wipe the hands clean, all done. And truly that's when it starts. And sometimes that's when family members abandon them. That's when they truly are on their own. So the journey starts then. So the more people we can have, especially positive female role models, to Kathy's point, the more people we can have in that journey with us, the stronger our organization is, as well as the people that leave our organization.
For mom to mom, it would be that diaper need is real. Diaper need is so real that at our first giveaway, I cried because we served 72 families in Culpeper County in a total of 3 hours. And then the next day we went into Orange County and I serviced another 12. So I serviced 84 families in one weekend. So diaper need is real, and it's here. It's your neighbors, it's your friends, it's your family. It's real.
I guess the big thing that is you do not have to run. You don't have to run. With a name like Girls on the Run, everybody's like, I'm not a runner. I can't help you. So yeah, that's the biggest thing I wish everybody knew is you don't have to run. I want women of all shapes, sizes, colors, religions, everything, because girls want to see and look up to women that look like them, that remind them of them. And they're not all, Barbie doll runner girls. They're just like us, and they want to see that. They want to see women that they can identify with. And for the ultimate suck up, I have the world's greatest board. Thank you. I do.
Any other questions from the audience?
I have one. Sure. For Kirsten. Yeah. The size diapers, what is there a main need? And
I don't need it.
Where to take them?
I can whisper and everybody can hear me. So we take everything from newborn up to size 7. A lot of people don't know that size 7 diapers exist. They do, and in Culpeper, we see a lot of the bigger sizes. So your 4s, your 5s, your 6s, your 7s. We also do pull-ups. I can meet you to pick them up. You can drop them off at safe at the office if you specify that they're for me. We also have a box at Elevate, and I think that's.
And you can bring your diaper wipes to my 5K next weekend.
Yes, you can bring them to the 5K next weekend as well, because I will be there.
That's the wicked one, right?
Yeah, the
Yes.
wicked bottom one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't miss the tent. Hot pink.
Yes.
Okay.
My tent is hot pink.
Oh, excellent.
Yes, you can see it from space.
Thank you.
But you'll accept beyond diapers, other
So we
items.
take diapers, wipes, unopened formula, and any kind of unopened hygiene products. So toothpaste, toothbrushes. Lindsay just brought me a great big bag a Ziploc bag of travel shampoo and conditioners. Anything, pads, tampons. We do condoms even. So anything that you might just if you're couponing, and you have some extra stuff, we'll probably take that.
Do you ladies have cards with you?
Yes.
Because
I've got a question. I'm going back here.
I noticed on Facebook, I've never used one of these, I'd better yell. I noticed on Facebook, every couple days there's someone porch pickup, diapers, porch pickup, formula, first come, first serve. The same with food, which I don't understand why people would say, I cleaned out my cupboard, I have a box of groceries, first person to come and get it. Is there a way for the moms to like catch all those free diapers and things that are being given away, or?
So I tend to steer away from that just because I want it to go to somebody that I know in that moment can use it. I wouldn't, if somebody needs it in that moment, I would rather it go to them than to come to us. So, but thank you though, it was a great question.
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. And I want to say, coming from an underserved community, I wanted to commend everybody that is at the table and everyone that's in this community, because you're able to help a lot of people. Where I'm from, in Philadelphia and that area, they don't have the resources. So as long as everybody in this room continues to give and to contribute in some kind of way, and it doesn't have to be money, it could be like time, you can continue to bless other people. And I'm excited to be a part of this community and thankful that you guys are doing this, because you really help a lot of people. And don't judge because you see someone dressed up nice and think that they have the money when they don't. Everybody's circumstances is different. Yeah, so keep doing what you're doing and don't be discouraged.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, ladies, very much.
They've actually graciously given us office space upstairs at the chamber to store all of my stuff so my apartment doesn't look like a grocery store. My 900 square foot apartment.
Yeah, I mean, the
For everything
chamber's
you do for
incredible,
us.
and I'm just
Yes,
I'm
for all
gonna
of
plug
us.
that the young professionals, everything they're doing this year is for our pet shelter as well, so.
You're welcome.
I gotta be honest, we work in a lot of communities, there is not a chamber like you guys, and I mean that.
Thank you so much, ladies. Fabulous information. So, like we've been talking about giving as part of our event that we're having here, and research indicates that giving to others is psychologically beneficial to us. Neuroimaging studies have found that areas of the brain are associated with pleasure and reward become activated when we give to others. So this makes us feel good. My fingers are too cold to separate paper. When we give to others or think about others, this also helps us connect more with other people. Social connection and having meaningful relationships with people is associated and improved mental and physical health. So, for the remainder of the program, we have 3 give back event activities for you to participate in, and they will benefit the 3 nonprofits that we had up here today. One of them is for SAFE. This will be letters of encouragement. We have a variety of letters that are blank on the inside, waiting for your words of encouragement to help these women out, and not just women, men too. So the people seeking services from SAFE will get these words of encouragement from you all. The next one are 5K yard signs for Girls on the Run Piedmont. We have our 5K. I'm on the board. I love Girls on the Run. The 5K is coming up on Saturday. No, May 7th. Next Saturday, thank you. Don't want to rush it too much. The 5K signs are going to be yard signs that we can put out along the racetrack to give the girls words of encouragement there as well. There's markers, crayons, stickers, glitter, love glitter, and more. The next one is for mom to mom. They're hygiene bags. As Kristen just said, that there's a lot of need for the hygiene products too. It's not just about the diapers and the wipes. So there's shampoo, conditioner, deodorant, toothpaste, floss, soap, razors, and more to be packed in bags to be given to women in need through the mom to mom give bags. So we encourage everyone to network, enjoy your wine, your snacks, each other's company, and I think that's it.